I win! I won!
You won?
Yeah.
You won the Zone Wars?
Okay, so we gotta, I've watched a lot of your hand exercise videos, and when I do them, I feel good, but I'm so lazy, it feels like a chore. I skip doing it most days. Yes, Jamie, that is a super common theme that we see, right? There's two ways that we can approach this. One, and I'll mute this for you so you're not listening to this. But one, it's about setting it or anchoring it to different parts of your day. You can have it come to my stream too. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, so it's about anchoring it to different parts of your day so that it's more automatic and it becomes a natural part of sort of the different things that you do throughout the day. And yes, you'll need that initial motivation, but number two, you want to think about what's the underlying reason why you want to do it. If you don't have a strong why for why you're doing the exercises, whether it be, hey, I want to be injury free, I want to be able to compete for long periods of time and not worry about it affecting my wrists, then that's a strong enough motivator for a lot of people, especially if they're in the competitive scene. But we definitely want to use things like behavioral science as a way to help it be integrated more easily into your schedule. So number one, you attach it to certain parts of your day. Every time I go take a piss, I do one of the exercises. Or every time I'm done with my game, I do a couple stretches. So Jamie, does that make sense? So you can anchor it, but also ask yourself, well, hey, why is this really important for me? If you can't really answer that, then of course it's going to be hard for you. Then of course it's going to feel like a chore because there's no context for you as to why it is important.
I think a really good answer to that question of why it's important has a lot to do with the level that you're performing at. If you're noticing that you are playing 8 to 10 hours a day, it's going to be really critical that you do these exercises. For someone that plays much more casually, while good to do and to help prevent injury, you're not quite riding kind of the edge between what is a normal amount of play and really serious competitive play that can result in injury. So it may be less important. So really gauging like where you're at with all of that is really important as well.
I like to
but if you are truly,
if you don't mind starting
okay.
Billboard. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, if you really feel like competitive is a priority for you, this is definitely something that will help you play for as long as you possibly can without having injuries develop that could potentially hurt your competitive outcomes long term.
Yep, really well said. Okay, so Jamie says, I'm 37, physical wreck from hard manual labor and endurance off-road motor racing. I have multiple shoulder dislocations. My hip has collapsed. Hopefully your physician didn't say that, because our bodies are very resilient and we can get back to doing what we want. It's just about having the appropriate plan, finding an appropriate physical therapist in the UK. I can't believe your orthopedic ward said your bones are deteriorating. That's the worst thing that you could say to anyone. They're not deteriorating. In fact, your bones are very strong and they can respond well to healthy loading. And by healthy loading, I mean doing the right exercises. So I would look up and find a local physio in your area that understands orthopedic injuries and work with him to address and understand truly what's stiff, truly what you don't have proper control of, and truly what's weak. He'll work with you to identify what's missing from the shoulder dislocations. If you didn't get a surgery, it's definitely a consideration. It's depending on what type of activities that you eventually want to get into. If you want to do like high and dynamic sports-related activities, it's definitely a good idea to at least consider doing a surgery to get your ligaments tightened. I have a big and maybe.
I got 2 minutes.
Oh, oops, yeah.
Yeah, I know 90-year-old patients that have had multiple hip fractures, and in no way, shape, or form would I ever describe their hip as deteriorated.
Right, that's the worst possible.
Or collapsed.
Yeah, so definitely
This is not true. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way that that is
completely false and not
biologically possible.
Yep, yep. You are very strong. Your body is very resilient, so you just need to find the local physical therapist that understands that. And you know, just being completely honest, the younger ones have the updated evidence. They're taught the updated evidence. So I would look for a recent graduate or 2 to 3 years out of physical therapy school. Those are the ones that are going to be able to provide you with some better help and better support. And you know, with regards to everything else, it's just a journey, and you know, you just gotta take it one step at a time. You know, and a lot of the times when you do work with a professional, sometimes they, while they have good intentions, they're overzealous in what they prescribe to you, right? Like, let's say you're dealing with fat loss, they prescribe this whole program that is pretty much impossible for most people to stick to, but they don't realize that they need to identify what you're doing at the moment and, you know, design something that allows you to stay consistent with the programming. Okay, so let's see, we got a couple more. I went for a scan because of scaphoid fracture giving me bad pain after a long time. They said there's deterioration in my wrist. Yeah, if you didn't do any like rehab properly for it, then its threshold for irritation is going to be a lot lower. So Jamie, I would really look to see if you could get some proper rehab, you know, see a good physio. It seems like you weren't educated properly about how to manage your injury. Blank, how do you feel
Yeah.
about the toxic behavior given to Fortnite? I am from the Minecraft community and I feel bad for some of y'all. Yeah. Hey, Blank, the community is, you know, honestly just filled with a lot of young kids, and kids don't have the emotional intelligence nor the maturity to be able to run and be the key figures in the space, making big decisions like roster changes and even responding to big news or shifts in competitive metas. And unfortunately, because of streaming, these kids have a big voice, right? Those that have a huge following have such a large voice, and it perpetuates a lot of really harmful beliefs, a lot of really harmful pool, small changes in the game is just so immature and short-sighted in nature, right? And it's training this entire generation to just think that, yeah, we should respond to things instantly versus think about long term, you know, how it might impact them, how it might impact their life, how it might impact others. They just, all they do is really think about themselves, which is unfortunate. Invite, join my party. Ooh.
It's a good party.
There's a 1v1 sniper fight. That should be cool, right?
Yeah.
I hope it's not broken though.
Dude, I wish you could turn matchmaking on for any map that you make. It has to be like featured in the community.
Oh,
There's actually some pretty cool maps that they've made standard here.
come through over here.
Where you at?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Blank. It's really unfortunate. I work with a few pros, and you know, there's just so many situations that they shouldn't have to go through. And you know, it's a result of the pro community. It's a result of Epic Games not creating some management infrastructure, and it's
I think Epic
result
Games
of
is the biggest one to blame.
Yeah, for sure. Basically, my thumb and pinky hold the sides of my mouse, and I recently experienced some pain in my mouth. What Blank said is definitely true in some sense, in the sense that if your mouse is too small, or if the shape of your mouse is indented towards the pinky side of the wrist, you might have to use more of your pinky-sided muscles to hold or pick up the mouse. Let me finish this and I'll get back to you guys.
No way.
Type is cool. I'm a high sense player. Starting to get this intermittent hot-ish pain on my right hand down my pinky wrist tendon that's annoyed when I turn right with my wrist. Any stretches that might help? Okay, so we have this article. I'm gonna link it in the chat. It's called Complete Guide to Completely Fix Your Hand and Wrist Pain in Fortnite. Okay, and while it says Fortnite, it is something that you need to understand. I'm loading it up right now. There it is. Boom. So, why this is important? Because it helps you identify what exercises you need to do specific to the region of pain that you felt. And there's stretches specific to it as well as strengthening exercises. If it's intermittent hot-ish pain, it could be, you know, just a sign that you're overloading, a sign that it's a little inflamed. So would ease off a little bit in the sense that you're not playing as much as you did that led to it being hot. So if you played 6 hours before, maybe you're playing 4 to 5 hours and stretching more regularly in between your exercises or in between your games. And then doing these stretches that are in that video, I think the name of it is, let's see, what is the name of it? We call it mouse wrist tendinopathy. So whenever you flick to the right. And yeah, you do the strengthening exercises to build up your endurance to allow you to handle repeated stress over time. And then you do stretches to allow it to relax or address the repetitive use stiffness.